Do you know that Freddie wasn't his real name? Who did he leave his properties to when he died? And what false information about Queen appears in the movie Bohemian Rhapsody? Freddie Mercury. In today's episode, we take a look at the life of Freddie Mercury and talk about the movie Bohemian Rhapsody. Not everything they say in the film about Freddie and Queen is true, so let's set the record straight and correct some inaccurate information. Freddie, originally named Farrokh Bulsara, is born on the island of Zanzibar off the eastern coast of Africa on September 5, 1946. At that time, Zanzibar is a British colony, so Freddie later gets UK citizenship. His parents were Parsis, meaning members of an Indian, originally Persian, branch of the Zoroastrian religious community. When Freddie is 9 years old, his family sends him to St. Peter's boarding school in Mumbai. At this young age, he has to leave behind his father, his younger sister Kashmir, and above all, his dear mother, with whom he has a very strong relationship. From childhood, he is interested in music, so at school he learns to play piano and also starts his very first band, the Hectics. They play covers of famous Western rock and roll music. Even at this young age, it's becoming obvious that Freddie has big musical gifts. A friend recalls he had an uncanny ability to listen to the radio and replay what he heard on piano. It's at this time the young boy gets nicknamed Freddie by his teachers and classmates, which also gets adopted by his parents and sticks with him for the rest of his life. Soon, Freddie decides to go back home and his band falls apart. He's finally back in Zanzibar, but only for a short time. It's 1964 and a bloody revolution breaks out in the country. Freddie and his family flee to London. There, Freddie starts on his path towards becoming a musical icon. You could almost say that if the bloody revolution in Zanzibar hadn't happened, his family would probably never have gone to London, and we wouldn't even be talking about Freddie Mercury here today. In the beginning, however, London doesn't look very promising. Freddie isn't doing well at school, except in one subject, art. So, when choosing where to study next, in 1966, he decides to attend the Ealing College of Art. Freddie's new environment helps him a lot. He lives in London, which at the time is a very lively and exciting place with lots of culture for young people, and he's studying at a quality art school, which later proves to be a very good choice. During his studies, Farrokh, which is still his official name at this time, meets the singer Tim Staffel. Tim is a musician who performs in the band Smile, who befriends Freddie at school. Later, Tim introduces him to other members of Smile, Brian May and Roger Taylor, who Freddie even lives with for a while. But Tim soon leaves the band, and Freddie is their first choice substitute to replace him. They're all captivated by his interesting vocal quality and wide range. The boy from Zanzibar can finally see what it's like to sing in front of people, and he starts to like it a lot. He has very unique and extravagant behavior on stage, which his bandmates don't like and try to get him to stop. But this is Freddie, and the stage for him is the place where he can be fully relaxed and honest with himself and with the crowd, so he doesn't change anything. This is also when he begins his relationship with Mary Austin. A girl whose parents are both deaf loves him for his self-confidence and tremendous kindness. Freddie soon proposes and they get engaged. With Freddie joining the band, big changes are underway. The singer comes up with a new name, Queen. If he did not fight hard for this name, we could be referring to them with the name Grand Dance. That's what Brian and Roger liked. At the same time, Freddie begins composing in a totally different style of music than the band is used to playing, and because of his interest in mythology, soon creates for himself the artistic surname Mercury. He officially changes his legal name to his nickname Freddie and his new last name Mercury, and a star is born. Queen still lacks a quality bass player, but after some time searching, they find one in John Deacon. John doesn't have it easy at the beginning. The band still played with other bass players and he didn't know if they would ever make him an official member. But in the end, he manages to prove himself and become a full member of the band in his own right. And Queen as we know it is finally complete. They start to work together on their debut self-titled album, Queen. There are no immediate major successes after its initial release, but all the band members knew it's at least a promising start. Their biggest success comes in November 1975 with the release of their album, A Night at the Opera, which includes the now well-known song, Bohemian Rhapsody. The song makes it to #1 in the British music charts and stays there for another 9 weeks. This is when Freddie's wild ride of success and fame really begins. Along with his success, the singer's self-confidence begins to grow, and he begins exhibiting ever more extravagant behavior. He starts dressing unconventionally, painting his nails black, and growing a mustache, which he allegedly does because he wants to cover his distinctive underbite. But his strange dance moves on stage and his untraditional appearance soon make him the darling of crowds far and wide. It appears that people like him specifically because of his unique style, for being different, and for just being himself. The band is already well known in England, but it's their album The Game that starts getting them attention all over the world, becoming the best-selling album in the US. His newfound popularity enables Freddie to live a wild life, filled with parties and alcohol. Everybody loves him, and he's constantly surrounded by many important people who soon become his friends. He invites celebrities like Princess Diana to his villa in Kensington, London. Through his hectic life meeting so many different kinds of people, Freddie gradually comes to realize that he's gay. With this realization, he ends his relationship with Mary, who he still considers his soulmate. Over the next few years, he goes through a lot of lovers, but Mary keeps the most important place in his life until it ends. "All my lovers asked me why they couldn't replace Mary, but it's simply impossible," he said once. Many long years of concerts all around the world, recording music and partying led to Queen's most famous performance, their Live Aid concert. On July 13th, 1985, they perform a 20-minute set at a charity concert at Wembley Stadium in London. The concert is broadcast by 13 satellites and has 1.6 billion television viewers worldwide. Paul McCartney, David Bowie, Madonna, U2, The Who, and other huge stars of the music world of the day perform at Live Aid, whose proceeds went to victims of famine in Ethiopia. In 1987, Freddie Mercury learns that he is suffering from AIDS, and while he's afraid of the illness, he realizes his debaucherous lifestyle went far beyond the usual fads of rock stars. "I had more lovers than Elizabeth Taylor," Mercury boasts to his friends. He doesn't want to give up his passion, and rather than resting, he starts to seek out new challenges. He finds something he hadn't tried before, but which he has an undeniable gift for: opera. The famous rock singer starts working closely with an opera singer from Barcelona he's admired since 1981, Montserrat Caballé. They both soon agree on a joint performance. The combination of rock singer and Spanish opera wonder was unprecedented. Their conflicting styles and clashing on-stage presence seems a bit unusual, mainly because of Mercury's excessive energy. Most importantly, however, is that the duo approach their project with absolute determination, enthusiasm, and purity. They're not worried about commercial success, they simply want to create something extraordinary. In 1987, Mercury speaks out, "I'm moving into opera now, forget rock and roll." The title song, Barcelona, taken from their joint album, recorded that year but released 5 years after its inception, after Mercury's death, becomes the official album of the 1992 Olympics, which take place that year in the Catalan capital. In the following years, Freddie moves to the Swiss city of Montreux, where he records several solo tracks. He spends the last 2 years of his life behind the walls of a richly furnished estate in the London suburbs of Kensington. As his illness progresses, he's cared for by Jim Hutton, his assistant Peter Freestone, and Mary Austin, his former fiancée and lifelong girlfriend. With the addition of his Persian cats, he has a full house. Freddie Mercury dies on November 24th, 1991, around 7 p.m., from pneumonia as a complication of his illness. His partner buries his ashes in secret. According to legend, they are dispersed in Montreux, Switzerland, on the shores of Lake Geneva. He doesn't want his body to ever be dug out of the ground, as has happened with other celebrities. His funeral ceremony is performed by a Zoroastrian priest, demonstrating his lifelong devotion to his childhood religion. Most of his property, including a huge villa, is left to Mary Austin. As we promised at the beginning, let's take a look at how some events in Bohemian Rhapsody compare to Freddie's real life. First, Freddie and Mary's relationship never ends completely. Freddie Mercury and Mary Austin are a couple for 6 years, but never marry. During their relationship, Freddie is unfaithful to his partner, but their breakup was not as painful, strange, or lengthy as it is in the movie. Mary says their relationship has only changed. She becomes a close friend and confidant. There's also a difference in the way Freddie asks Mary to marry him in the film and how it really went. In real life, Mercury proposes to her on Christmas, and because he doesn't have a lot of money at the time, her ring is a cheap trinket, the exact opposite from the movie, where Mary gets an expensive ring with a huge diamond. Second, Freddie is not diagnosed before the Live Aid concert. The singer only learns he has AIDS in 1987, 2 years after Live Aid. It is this fact that gives rise to most criticisms of the movie. Critics say it is an insult to Mercury's memory that the film claims his illness has anything to do with his decision to perform at the concert. Third, Mercury does not meet his partner Jim Hutton at a party. In reality, Hutton makes a living as a hairdresser at the Savoy Hotel. The pair encounters each other for the first time at a nightclub in 1984. The singer invites Hutton for a drink, but he refuses because he has a partner at the time. The following year, they meet again, and after meeting for the second time, they become a couple. When he meets Mercury, Hutton has no idea who the singer is. When Mercury reveals his stellar status, the hairdresser remains calm. He stays by Freddie's side even after learning of his fatal diagnosis in the spring of 1987. He refuses to leave and find someone else for himself, even after Freddie encourages him to go. Instead, Jim stays with him until his death. In 1990, Hutton finds himself HIV positive, and he also develops AIDS. He dies of lung cancer in 2010. And last, in the movie, the band breaks up. In fact, the band never breaks up. Mercury embarks on his own solo career with the blessing of his bandmates. Queen, by mutual agreement, takes a break from working together. Mercury uses this time for his projects and is not the only member of the group to do so. Inaccuracies aside, Bohemian Rhapsody's box office success shows we're still interested in Freddie's life and music, even 30 years after his death. Freddie may be gone, but his legendary talent will stand the test of time. Thanks for watching to the end. If you like our videos, please subscribe to help us create more content.